The 155mm Gun Motor Carriage M12 was a U.S. self-propelled gun developed during the Second World War. It mounted a 155mm gun derived from the French Canon, the 155mm GPF field gun. Development. The idea for the M12 was first proposed in 1941 and the pilot T6 GMC built and tested in early 1942. The Army Ground Force initially rejected the design as unnecessary, but after the Artillery Board supported the Ordnance Department, 100 were authorized and built. These were used for training. Description. The M12 was built on the chassis of the M3 Lee tank. It had an armored driver's compartment shared with the commander, but the gun crew were located in an open-topped area at the back of the vehicle. The engine was moved forward to the center of the vehicle, and most vehicles used M4 bogies with trailing return rollers. It mounted a 155mm gun M1917, M1917A1 or M1918M1, depending upon availability. A weapon derived from the nearly identical French 155mm GPF gun of World War I vintage. Limited storage space meant that only 10 projectiles and propellant charges could be carried on the vehicle. An earth spade at the rear was employed to absorb recoil. This layout, large gun mounted in an open mount at the rear, with a spade, was the pattern adopted for many years by other heavy self-propelled artillery. Production: only 100 vehicles were built, 60 in 1942 and a further 40 in 1943. Derivatives. Given the limited ammunition carried in the M12, a support vehicle based on the same chassis was produced as the cargo carrier M30 to transport the gun crew and additional ammunition. Identical except for the gun and recoil spade, it could carry 40 rounds of 155mm ammunition, and was armed with a .50 caliber Browning M2 machine gun in a ring mount. In operational conditions, the M12 and M30 would serve in pairs. Used during 1943, the vehicles were used for training or put into storage. Before the invasion of France, 74 M12s were overhauled in preparation for combat operations. They were employed successfully throughout the campaign in northwest Europe. Although designed primarily for indirect fire, during assaults on heavy fortifications, the M12s were sometimes employed in a direct fire role, such as in the Allied assault on the Siegfried Line, where the M12 earned its nickname, Door Knocker, thanks to the 155mm cannon's ability to pierce 7 feet of concrete at ranges up to 2,000 yards. The vehicle was also dubbed King Kong by American operators due to the raw power of its gun. In 1945, the M12 was complemented in Europe by the M40 Gun Motor Carriage, designed on a late-war M4 Sherman chassis. Post-war, the M12 was retired from service and replaced by the M40. Surviving vehicle. The sole surviving M12 GMC is displayed at the Fort Sill Museum in Oklahoma. It had previously been stored at the United States Army Ordnance Museum in Aberdeen, Maryland, United States, before being transferred to Fort Sill in November 2010.